their power damage with 11 home runs. Leje will hit third in this lineup, followed by Jackson Ross, the DH. He has 7 home runs. So Hagen Smith start things off with a strike. 0-1 on Luke Hill, a .250 hitter, 1 home run, 15 runs batted on the year. At the knees, in there for a strike.
Boy, how about that? At the letters, at the knees. I mean, just 2 darts to start the ball game for Hagen Smith.
Luke Hill has been flip-flopping with Ethan Groff in the top. So Hagen Smith start things off with a strikeout. That is his 73rd strikeout to just 10 walks on the year. Hagen Smith with a .74 whip, walks and hits per inning.
Yeah, I mean, we showed the numbers off the jump. Paul Skeens struck out 45% of the hitters he faced last year. Hagen Smith at 55% this year, just to give you a little context.
Here's a 2-hole hitter, Andrew Fisher, the third baseman, stepping in. Andrew, the 6'1", 205-pound sophomore out of New Jersey, transferred in from Duke. He's just 1 for 15 over the last 4 games. They really need to get him cranked up. Had a great start to this season. Fisher with 11 homers and 30 runs batted in. Fouls that one back. It's even at 2-2 now.
You're going to see a heavy dose of those breaking balls, especially left on left. He's increased his usage. He's just a little over 50% fastball breaking ball right now, but the slider this year has really become a consistent strike pitch. Hey now,
line and caught. Self-defense. Hagen Smith just sticks the leather up and it finds the mitt.
Now you talk about a tough play to handle if you're an Ole Miss offense. Andrew Fisher, left on left, sticks his nose in there as hard as you can hit it, right back up the middle. And Hagen Smith, that was not like a cue ball or a fist job right there. That ball was smoked, and Hagen Smith just robbed Andrew Fisher of a base hit.
Ethan Leje, the left fielder, 366, fouls this one down the line. He'll get a few rows back. Crowd trickling in. Early start here in Fayetteville on a Thursday night. Well, they have been packing him in, Baum Walker, this year. Last weekend, of course, some fireworks with LSU, and this is a team that's 8-1 in conference play. Swing and a miss, 0-2 now on Leje, who is hard to strike out, only 5 strikeouts and 101 at-bats. Make it 6 and 102 at-bats.
Right on his sinking fastball, and he's going to have to live down there, not only in a hostile environment, but on a day where the wind is blowing out. It's really a perfect opportunity for a sinker baller to give his team a chance to win the game.
First pitch. That one is delivered out into center field. Peyton Stovall continues to swing a hot bat for Arkansas at the top of this lineup.
Well, that's how you go down and get a sinker right there, Dave Neal. A little two-seamer working down in the zone. Peyton Stovall gets into his back knee and delivers a rocket right back up the box. Arkansas with the exact start you would draw up if you're Dave Van Horn.
16 consecutive games that Peyton Stovall has reached base now. Here is Ben McLaughlin, the first baseman. Been .315 on the year. 4 home runs and 23 runs batted in. Maddox on the year. 25 strikeouts, 9 walks. Has 6 starts, 1 appearance out of the bullpen. ERA is not bad at .402, especially in today's game with the ball jumping out of ballparks.
No, he's been solid, Dave. I mean, that's why he's got the ball here in game 1, and they finally just started flipping it to him on the weekends because he's been giving them a chance.
Oh, that ball's touched. It is belted deep to right. A little too much topspin caught there by Trayson Hughes, and that'll get Stovall back to first base.
I think you're right, Dave. That ball had just a little too much topspin, but we show you the flags here. The wind is just howling out straight away left field, and that ball actually didn't have enough air under it, or it would have been a no-doubter off the new player development facility to right field.
Berkey, when you come to the ballpark as a hitter and you see that, is it hard not to get that in your mind, or are you thinking, I got to get it elevated today? What is your mindset when you see flags blowing like that?
I think it's as good a feeling as there is in baseball. I tell people all the time, how do you feel standing on a downhill par 5 with the wind at your back? You feel pretty good about it? You know, it's amazing how that can change your point of view.
But sometimes does it get it out of your swing, your normal swing, your approach?
Yeah, maybe. I think if anything, it can cause you to be a little over-aggressive just because you're so excited about what the result can be. But I'd still rather have it blowing at my back than not.
Oh, yeah. And I've seen you on downhill wind at your back par 5s and hit it in the woods. So, I mean, I've seen that game. Just so you know.
I'm not saying it's foolproof, but I'm just saying right. I like the feeling, you know.
I got you. Vahiva Aloy, the shortstop at .277, a 10-game hit streak going. He's hitting 16 of his last 17. Well, he's coming off a good week, too. He is starting to really blossom.
And I think that's the word, Dave. I think just settle in, right? Coming over after a freshman All-American season at Sacramento State, one of the most coveted players in the transfer portal. And Arkansas went right after him, got the deal done. This is a player that had over 1,000 OPS last year and hit 14 home runs as a true freshman shortstop. And it was a slow start, but boy, he's starting to look the part now.
Out to second. Rebels trying to turn it and get out of the inning, and they do so. Well done by Ole Miss. And he felt good about the way things were clicking. And then, Berkey, what kind of happened to Ole Miss here the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, you said it, 14-2. They won their first series. You know, momentum was off to the right, on the right foot. And, you know, they went to Tennessee, lost 2 out of 3. No shame in that. But really it was last weekend, right? Kentucky comes to their place. They got a packed Swayze Field, and they just didn't answer the bell. I mean, Kentucky, who's playing a really high level of baseball right now, just punched them in the mouth, and they had no response for it. And honestly, kind of carried it over into midweek game against Memphis. So it's a team scuffling right now, obviously coming off a year where they really never got it going the entire season. And so, you know, they're searching right now, and there's just no let up in this league. When you're searching, you got the number 1 team in the country.
Jackson Ross still searching for the baseball as he heads back to the dugout. The 3rd strikeout of the game for Hagen Smith. Ross, a designated hitter, starting things off. 4, 5, and 6 for the Rebels. Ethan Groff now coming in to see what he can do against Mr. Smith. We've seen Hagen up to 97 so far tonight.
Boy, and the fastball is electric tonight, David. And we talked to Mike Bianco about it. It's just the fastball has clicked up almost 3 miles an hour on an average per pitch. So hitters are having to start earlier. There's a little changeup right there. Hitters are having to start earlier, and because of that, the slider is actually up 11% from a whiff percentage. So it's just like everything is clicking up, everything's sharper. Hitters are having to cheat, and because of that, he's getting swings and misses at a record level.
Boy, now it's 3-0 on Groff. The senior transfer out of Orlando, Florida. 3 years at Tulane, now in his 2nd year at Ole Miss. Hit 272 last year, but has really improved his offense. He's up over 300 this year with 5 homers.
You got to be ready here, Dave. You're only going to get so many 3-1 chances against this guy. You got to be ready to be short to the front of the zone here, ready for a fastball.
Right at the letters, 96. Don't know that he could have hit that even if he swung at it.
Yeah, it's probably a foul ball, but just to not take the chance. You only get so many where you got him backed in a corner. You know what you're going to get.
There's a walk, and that is news. It's just the 11th of the year. Well, you just look at Hagen Smith's body and his frame. You and I were talking before the game today about it. It doesn't even look like the same guy. He's put on 20 to 25 pounds of muscle. Lower half is just so much bigger. He's just bigger in general.
Yeah, he is. And he's just 20 years old. He will be 20 years old on draft day. And, talking to – oh, that was close. The old Terry Mulholland step-off move right there. But, talking to Dave Van Horn, people didn't realize he was the youngest player in the league a couple years ago. And as good as he's been to this point in his career, he still had a lot of filling out to do, a lot of growing up to do. And the body has really changed it this offseason. He really put some work in this summer and fall in the weight room, especially in that lower half. And it's obvious with the stuff as he's almost up 3 miles an hour on the heater.
Groff over there at first base. After the walk, he's 10 out of 10 in the stolen base department. Ole Miss has been a good base running team this year. You look down their lineup, a lot of guys stealing some bags and been successful at it. Luke Hill, 9 out of 10. Lejay, 3 out of 3. Ross, 4 out of 4. Groff, 10 out of 10. Hughes, 4 out of 5. I mean, they've been successful when they've decided to take a base. One and two the count now to Trayson Hughes.
You called it, Dave. They're stealing 37 out of 41. I mean, and it's kind of, we talked to Mike about it. It's more of a personnel with older, experienced players that they trust to give the green light to. You see Hagen Smith certainly paying a lot of attention over there to Ethan Groff. But, it's funny, Mike Bianco just said his team, the teams that have stolen the most bases for him are the teams that are the oldest, the ones where he doesn't feel like he has to micromanage it all the time.
That is up and in, 2-2. Hughes out of Warner Robins, Georgia, transferred in from Mercer, where he played a couple of years. First season in Oxford. Boy, could really swing it with the Bears. .351 average over 2 years at Mercer. Oh, and he got popped there. Well, that'll leave a mark. That is the third hit batter of the year for Hagen Smith. And that'll put him at first and second with one out now for Ole Miss.
Yeah, that was a scary one. That one's the one right around the hand area that you just hope doesn't end up in some sort of broken bone, but tends to sting a little less, Dave, when you're facing pitchers like Hagen Smith. HBPs they don't sting as bad when it's an ace on the mound.
All right, he's at first base. That's what he's thinking. All right, I'm down here.
Yep, that's right.
And now Trenton Lyons, the freshman who gets the start. Making his second start, just his 10th game of the season. And how about in your second start, you get to face this guy?
Yeah, welcome to the SEC. And we're about to find out Mr. Lyons, how ready he is. And Hagen Smith doesn't look too worried. He's out there with a big smile on his face as him and Hudson White are talking it over. But the bottom third of this Ole Miss lineup, freshman, sophomore, freshman, and Unimark, the sophomore there in the 8-hole, coming off a big midweek game, but he didn't play a ton last year. So it's interesting in a league that has become so old, and really a first two-thirds of the lineup for Ole Miss that's very old. Mike Bianco going with some youth here in the bottom third of the order, and what a tall test this is.
There's a strike, 1-1. Lions out of Memphis, Tennessee. Swing and a miss. He was a high school All-American. Dad played some baseball at Memphis and for the Boston Red Sox in their organization. Swing and a miss and a foul ball. We'll do it again at 1-2.
Boy, had a chance right there. That was one of the worst sliders that we've seen from Hagen Smith. That one was just floating up around the belly button, and unfortunately for Ole Miss, Lions just came over the top of it and hooked it foul. My guess is Smith is going to go back to that one again right here after knowing why he missed.
Did he go? Yes, he did. Lions can't believe it.
Well, Dave, he's the youngster. I would tell him don't leave the bat there. Pull the bat back. Don't give him any reason to think that bat went too far. Get it back. Don't hold on to it. I would say it probably went just a touch past the point of no return.
So 2 down. And that's the 4th strikeout of the game for Hagen Smith. And Judd Udemark, the first baseman, steps in. Judd, 282, couple of homers and 5 RBIs on the year. His 11th start this season. And quickly 0-2 on Udemark.
Big, strong, talented kid. They're hoping he can provide some power for them.
Called strike 3, inning is over. So a walk and a hit back. CC, their only loss came to Auburn a few weeks back, but this has been a team that has been on a roll. And again, offensively, it's not one of their best teams, but it's been efficient, if you will, from an offensive standpoint. And they need to get this guy going a little bit. Kendall Diggs will lead things off. It'll be 4, 5, and 6 for the Hogs. Diggs just 2 for 16 over his last 5 games, but did have a big 3-run home run Thursday against LSU, his 6th home run of the year. He's tied with Fahiva Aloy for the team honors with those 6 home runs.
Yeah, Dave Van Horn feels like this is the pick to click in the second half of the season. Feels like Kendall Diggs has not hit with any luck to this point in the year. And not off to a bad start. Just they feel like this kid's an all-league kind of hitter. And, you know, we asked him if he could pick a guy that maybe he feels like has a big second half in him. It was Kendall Diggs was the first name out of his mouth.
The 1-2. Well, that just missed on the inside. It'll be even at 2-2. "23 new players on this Arkansas team. Kendall Diggs, not one of them, though. Ground ball out to second. That'll be 1 down. Maddox got a nice double play ball off the bat of Aloy to end the first inning. And gets another ground ball here. We're going to see a lot of those if he can continue to land that sinker.
Yeah, the sinker is a weapon. And off to a great start, getting outs on the ground the way that two-seamer is designed to operate.
Jared Sprague-Lott, the third baseman, now strolling to the plate for his first at-bat. A Richmond transfer, can really play anywhere in the infield, but has settled in at third. It's a late addition to this Arkansas roster. Came in late August. And they have certainly happy to have him, hitting .296 with a couple of homers. Out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. 3 years he played at Richmond. And quickly he goes down. So Maddox with the strikeout, his first of the game, and 2 outs here in the second.
Riley Maddox looks to be in a very nice rhythm. Almost punched out Diggs a second ago. There's that slider, that good glove side slider, taking a left turn as it gets to home plate. And Maddox seems to be very confident out on the mound today as he is answering the challenge of going up against Hagen Smith.
Lovich. He'll look at a strike. It's 1-1. The 185-pound senior out of Overland Park, Kansas. 3 years at Missouri before coming to Arkansas. Tries to lay down the bunt. It'll be a foul ball. Trenton Lyons, I don't think, saw it initially.
Man, it's interesting. 3 times in a row with 2 outs and nobody on. I guess Ole Miss is just fine with him bunting there because you think you show it, then the third baseman comes in or adjusts his positioning, and then you show it again, and finally you get it down. Like, I guess Ole Miss just wasn't going to come off their shift and just dared him to do it. Sure enough, it's a 1-2 count.
Ground ball to the right side, fouled, and we'll do it again at 1-2. Lovich missed some time last year at Missouri with an injury, but still against SEC pitching in 16 games, conference games that he was able to play in, hit over 300, had a couple of home runs, but can't touch this one. I'm going to tell you something. Riley Maddox, skipper Dave Van Horn, and Coach, here we go again. I mean, 4 weeks in a row, you guys have been the consensus #1 team in the country. But just tell me about this team in general and the makeup of this group. Business-like, how would you define it?
Yeah, they just show up every day, man. These guys are fun to be around. You don't have to you don't have to give them speeches and try to motivate them. They're pretty motivated, and they work hard in practice. And there's a lot of competition amongst teammates, which is made it good. Especially you talk about midweek games. A lot of times during conference, those midweek games, they get rough. Now guys are they're kind of beat up or looking forward to the next weekend, and we got guys that are excited to be on the field. And that's why it's gone well for us.
Dave, you've been doing it a long time, coached a lot of great players, All-Americans, Golden Spike winners, big leaguers, all that. Where does Hagen Smith rank on that list?
Well, he's, as far as talent-wise, he might be the most talented pitcher I've ever had. He's probably one of the top 2 pitchers I've ever had. I coached a pretty good one at Nebraska named Shane Komani that was unbelievable. So, but man, he's special.
What is it about him? Is there something, I mean, obviously we know he can throw 97, but is there something inside that we don't know about him that makes him tick?
Yeah, you got a lot inside of him now. He's he's extremely tough. He's kind of quiet, but on game day you stay away from him, and I don't even talk to him. He's got a lot of fight in him, and he's serious as can be. I mean, he really is serious, and like I said, he's quiet, but he's such a leader because he works so hard, and his teammates just love that, and they follow him.
Oh, he's special. And by the way, I don't talk to Berkey on game days either. I know what you're talking about.
Leave me alone, Dave.
Hey, Coach, we'll let you get going, man. Always a pleasure visiting with you. Good luck rest of the way.
Okay, thank you. See you guys.
Yeah. All right. I mean, when Dave Van Horn's not talking to you on game day, you just stay out of the way, right?
That's
I mean,
right.
That's intensity at another level.
At that point. That's right. What's interesting is his on the field demeanor isn't super serious. Well, we've already seen him smile half a dozen times, right, in the first few innings.
There's a high chopper, going to be a tough play, scooped up by Jared Sprague-Lott, and safe at first as the throw got McLaughlin off the bag. That should go down. I'd give him a hit on that high chopper. I don't know if a great throw would have got him or not.
Nah, you can't give that a hit with Hagen Smith on the mound. But I would say normally that's a hit, but I'm going to say they're going to go he barehanded it. Oh. Boy, the throw definitely beat him. Did he need to jump? See, that's one of those plays to me. Obviously, you would never want to give up an extra base if the ball went into the camera well or snuck into the dugout somehow to where the runner gets to second base. We'd love to see McLaughlin try to tippy-toe that ball and stay on the edge of the base. The catcher's backing it up. There's opportunity to keep that runner at first, but you don't get that chance back once you leave the bag.
Hey, they're going to give him a base hit, Berkey.
Okay. Well,
so if he tries to barehand that, though, right, and doesn't get it with the bare hand, you still give him a hit on that, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I don't know that the bare hand was 100% necessary. How about this?
No bare hand there.
Hits. Yeah.
How about the Rebels with first and second for the second consecutive inning against Hagen Smith? Remember, Hagen Smith came in with that .74 whip.
Well, and Andrew Fisher now has back-to-back rockets. I mean, this ball's obviously a little bit topped in the 4-hole, but Fisher smoked a liner his first at bat that Hagen Smith robbed him of a base hit. Now it's a hard hit ground ball right in the 4-hole, and the Rebels stringing some hits together.
And you got your 3-hole hitter, Ethan Leger. Struck out his first time. Lays down the bunt. Smith gives way to the third baseman, Jared Sprague-Lott. He can't make a play, and they'll be loaded now for Ole Miss. Little small ball from the Rebels.
How about it? How many times in this league will you see this year a 3-hole hitter bunt with first and second and one out? Not first and second, nobody out. First and second, one out, but just shows you how tough Hagen Smith is. And Leger lays that thing down perfectly, got it past Hagen Smith, and I would assume Lott called it. That's why Smith didn't decide to glove it, but then Lott couldn't get a clean handle, and boy, what an opportunity this is.
Now Jackson Ross, your cleanup hitter, the designated hitter. Boy, he looks at ball one. Ross struck out his first time, a .320 hitter coming into the game. The senior, 6'2", 210, out of Lakeland, Florida, transfer in from FAU. Spent 2 years in junior college before he went to Florida Atlantic. His first year at Ole Miss. Played a bunch of baseball at FAU in 2 years. All-Conference USA first team last year. Finished the season with 14 homers and 58 runs batted in. Has 7 home runs this year and 30 RBIs. And there's a strike, 3-1.
Yeah, that 3-0 pitch was, or excuse me, the 2-0 pitch must have just missed. That one catches the corner. Hagen Smith with a beautiful job of getting that ball to the outside edge, and hitters counts.
Boy, and how about Hagen Smith walking in the first run of the game? Well, we have seen 2 walks, a hit batter today from a guy that's control has been impeccable all season.
Well,
Matt
you know,
Hobbs
and it's interesting too. Yeah, Matt Hobbs is going to go have a chat and just make sure he slows us. And just really interesting the way this inning has unfolded. You got to give Ole Miss a bunch of credit for taking advantage.
Ethan Groff now, the center fielder, steps in. He walked his first time up. Groff, a .304 hitter this year. Big swing and a miss on 95 miles an hour. Just misses. Hit .272 last year. Fouls that one straight back, 1-2.
Well, and no matter what happens here, Dave, you've taken a pretty good chunk of the pitch count here in this inning, to say the least. And obviously you'd love to tack on a few more here, but a win this inning for sure, no matter what. Hey, now.
Lifted high in the air, deep to left field. On the warning track is Lovich, who makes the catch, but that'll be a long sacrifice fly for Groff. And it's 2-0 Ole Miss. Boy, he didn't miss it by much.
No, man, I thought that was a no-doubter off the bat. Just because the way the wind is blowing, you would assume that ball carries out of here. Usually Baum Walker plays pretty small when the wind's blowing out 12 to 15 like it is tonight. Must have caught that one off the end of the bat, and Ole Miss tacks on another, but really Arkansas avoided a big number right there.
Ross tags up. He'll be at second base. So second and third now for the Rebels with 2 down. Trayson Hughes hit by a pitch his first time up. Tried to lay a little bunt down. Third baseman Jared Sprague-Lott.
Love it, though.
Swing and a miss, 1-2.
I mean, the numbers are what they are, Dave, right? I mean, 136 batting average against. I mean, if you got a runner on third and the third baseman's going to play back, why not try it? Great take. That is the one that everybody's been swinging and missing, especially left on left. That was a fantastic right there take by Hughes to earn himself another pitch.
To the right side. McLaughlin over to Smith. He steps on the bag, but a couple of...
Only one thing left for Dave Van Horn to do with this program. And boy, are these fans hungry for it.
College World Series, the national championship, of course, go back to 2018, and they were one play away. As close as you can possibly get, as close as maybe anybody's ever been. But maybe this is the team.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly, and he just keeps knocking on the door with great team after great team. And the stat going around this week is even if they get swept this week, which is probably not going to happen, they would be at the least 8-4 through 12 games for the 7th straight year.
Out to short. Ooh. Out at first. Nice play by Braden out there. Sort of a little good look at his arm. As Randall steps and plants, fires a seed over to first. And White is retired, but there's the success you're talking about. I mean, nobody's won more games since 2017 than this Arkansas club. Yeah,
and again, back to that stat I was quoting, as you see here, they've been just rolling, right? But 7 straight years of at least 8-4 through 12 games of the SEC play. Nobody's done that but Skip Bertman's dominant early 90s LSU teams. Nobody. And, they haven't won the final game yet in Omaha, but this has been the league's most consistent program over the last decade or so.
How hard is it, though, to win? I mean, you talk about most consistent, but look at that. They've only had 2 conference regular season championships in this run in 21 and 23. That's how tough it is in this league.
I know it. I mean, DVH has 3 total.
Out to third. Fisher throws, and nicely done by Udemark at first as he kept a foot on the bag, and that'll be 2 down.
Well, that was a big league play by Udemark. You ain't kidding. That saves them a run right there. Go to the other side of the base. You'll see a lot of first basemen kind of lunge, try to catch the ball in front of the runner. Udemark with the poise to go to the other side of the bag. Boy, that is really well done and saves Ole Miss a disaster on a ball that would have advanced a couple runners, a couple bases.
To the right side, just testing out everybody in the infield. Head coach Mike Bianco. Coach, thanks for joining us. And you knew coming in today you were facing one of the best pitchers, if not the best pitcher in college baseball. But, boy, your guys' approach early on, your 1 through 6 hitters have all reached. What's been the key for them to this point?
Well, not a lot of them are hard hit, obviously, Dave. But, they've grinded out some ABs. We've took some pitches. But, man, he's tough. You can tell he can get on a roll in a hurry. And, you chase the fastball up. And just, when you're trying to not, lay off of that, he dumps a slider in there. So he's really hard.
Coach, everybody knows you as one of the great motivators in the sport. I got to know, obviously you guys have hit a little skid. You're playing number 1 team in the country on the road. What was the pregame message to the team?
Well, a lot of it is this is why you came here, to play in this type of atmosphere. And we've had success here. Not a ton, but we've had our share of success here. But the truth of the matter is you can't, as my old boss used to say, you can't let the pressure of the competition take away the enjoyment of the game. And you got to get back to that. You got to get back to enjoying the game. And our guys have felt it at the beginning of the year. Then we played once for a stretch, about 3 weeks. We played really well. And then about the last week or so, we haven't played well again. So we got to get back to doing that.
Hey, last thing, Riley Maddox, you throw him out here on the opening game against number 1 team. Your thoughts about him early on?
He's been good. He's been filling up the strike zone with all 3 pitches. And, fastball, slider, and change. And he's a competitor, and that's what you want on Friday.
All right, we got another base runner. We'll let you go handle the things in the dugout. Thanks for joining us, Coach.
All right, guys, appreciate you.
Thanks, Mike.
Boy, McLaughlin steps up there and don't know if he caught that one off the end of the bat or not, but it drops in for a base hit. So a lead off, Lions.
Yeah, that ball looked like it stayed in the air a while, Dave. Like Wilmsmeyer didn't get a really good read on it out there in center field. That ball had plenty of air under it for it to fall for a base hit.
And now you get to 6'5" Judd Udemark, who struck out his first time up. Udemark is you mentioned a big boy, 6'5", 250 out of Charlotte Christian High School. Charlotte, North Carolina, second year with the program.
Mm.
0-2.
That fastball up around the belt is not the one you want from Hagen Smith. You have got to try to push the ball down below the belly button if you got any chance. That one up around the letters is getting swings and misses all night.
There it is. 3 pitches. Udemark heading back, but Berkey, I mean, you gotta. I mean, he's getting that as a strike, so it's almost like you gotta at least attempt it. I mean, you could just let it go.
Well, yeah, and it's a fine line, right? The one just below the letters and the one that's kind of right around the belly button. Yeah. But you see tonight, the walks and the runs are already equal to his first 3 starts in SEC play. So Ole Miss has done more than most to this point, but. Look, I'd rather take my chances with that being called a strike than pull the trigger pre-2 strikes, Dave. I just don't think you're going to do anything with it.
Mike Bianca was telling us today about, hey, we got to see some pitches. We got to get Hagen Smith up near that 100 pitch mark. That's kind of the number for him, and the sooner we can get him to that, the sooner we can get him out of the game. Not that this Arkansas bullpen is any walk in the park either, but at least you get rid of this monster on the mound, and he's already up to 67 pitches here in the top of the 4th inning with only 1 out.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the game within the game, right? You're winning, which is fantastic, but also, it's day 1 of a 3-game series. Even if you can't beat their ace, can you get deep into the bullpen, make them use their best pieces? And again, Arkansas's got a few of them, but to try to set yourself up better for the next 2 games, it's all part of the best of 3 weekend series that these guys are so used to playing week in and week out.
Boy, really good take from Braden Randall. We have seen a ton of swing and misses on that exact pitch this year. Boy, what a tough matchup for a left-handed hitter. Three and 1.
Ooh. Pretty good move by Hagen Smith. A lot of times you see lefties that are this talented, nobody ever hit them their whole life, so they don't even have a pickoff move because nobody's ever gotten on base.
Right.
But Hagen Smith's pretty good. He's shown us a couple different moves. I used to say if a lefty hadn't shown you his pickoff move by the first 2 base runners, that means he doesn't have one, right? And so some of these guys I'm left-handed, I'm looking at you, you're not going to go anywhere, I'm not even going to mess with you. But Hagen Smith's got an arsenal over there. Of course, I was fortunate to play with one of the all-time great pickoff move artists, Andy Pettit, who was a dominant left-handed pitcher, but he could steal some outs with his pickoff move as well.
Well, here's the payoff pitch. Back to first for a moment. Braden Randall at the plate, grounded out his first time up. Braden's dad, Ole Miss, former Ole Miss golfer, played with the Rebels. Fouled that one back.
7 different times Hagen Smith's going over first. And again, we talked about Ole Miss and their improved run game. It's interesting, though, that he's paying them that much attention.
Got him swinging. Out number 2.
Well, now back-to-back Ks here after, how about this? This is probably first time all year. The third inning, he did not record a punch-out. Right, but now I hear 2 punch-outs in the fourth to take his total to, what is that now, 7 for the game here, 3 2/3 of the way into his outing. But, you know, he's not going to have a whole lot of innings in his season where he faces 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hitters and not punch anybody out.
1-1 the count. Of his 7 strikeouts, 5 have been swinging. As the lineup flips back to Luke Hill, who scored the first run of the game. That one misses in. Luke, the 6-foot sophomore transfer, grew up in Baton Rouge, but went to Arizona State for a year. Started 54 games where he hit .314 with 6 homers, 11 doubles. They were really excited in Oxford to pick up Luke Hill. But it's been a little slow for Luke. Offensively, just .250 on the year coming into this game.
Yeah, and I think the hope from Mike Bianco and this Ole Miss coaching staff is get him off shortstop, arguably the most pressure-packed position on the field. Maybe you get him to second base and help him relax and you get the best version of him offensively. Because they felt like coming out of the fall, he was their best hitter. And while he, you know, it hasn't been bad, it's been fine. It just hasn't been what they expected it to be, which was they felt like they had a difference maker with the bat here in Luke Hill.
Good take there, and he draws a walk. Second time Luke Hill has reached base. And now there's 2 on again. Boy, this is the 3rd inning in a row where Ole Miss has had 2 runners on base against Hagen Smith.
And now almost 80 pitches for the left-hander here in the top of the 4th.
Well, the approach
I got an
tonight by
update
Ole
for you
Miss
from
has been great.
From Baton Rouge, Dave Neal. The Fighting Tigers up 6-0 on the Vanderbilt Commodores early in that one.
You had a little inkling that something might be changing with LSU. I know Jay Johnson certainly has put his foot on that team a little bit, trying to get them to wake up after the sluggish start in conference play. And even in non-conference play hadn't been great.
No, that's right. Yeah, they lost to Southern on Tuesday. We took their phones away, Dave. Everybody knows that's the way you get kids' attention these days, right? Take their phones away.
Foul back from Fisher.
Well, Andrew Fisher is feeling really comfortable right now. I mean, oddly so. Hagen Smith cannot like the hacks that Andrew Fisher is taking against him.
Fisher, 11 home runs last year as a freshman at Duke. Check swing, did he go? Yes, he did. The inning is over, so 3 strikeouts this inning, but the Rebels will leave a couple of runners.
Good start here in Game 1 against Vanderbilt at home. But I really do think, Dave, I just think the margins are so slim in this league. And usually when you're so good to win the national championship, those pieces that led you there usually are leaving, right? Like those pieces are not returning. And even though you got the portal, like you just don't replace national championship kind of players. And if you think about Bednar and Tanner Allen and Rowdy Jordan, right? You don't replace those guys. And you think about Graham and Elko, and as we see another ground ball here by Riley Maddox, who's just carving them up. But the pitching from Ole Miss of that team, how they got hot with Hunter Elliott down the stretch, and then last year's LSU team, Paul Skeens and Ty Floyd and Dylan Cruz, like especially Skeens and Cruz, you could go 20 years and not have players like that, right? So it's just hard to replace those guys. And as soon as you get down a little bit, somebody's there ready to take advantage of it because this league is just unforgiving.
Vahiva Aloy steps in with 1 down after McLaughlin grounds out to second. Boy, Maddox, everything he throws is moving right now. And the name on the back of his jersey just makes me think about the other Maddox. Now, I know that's a long stretch, but I mean, it's not fast. But I mean, Arkansas just doesn't have a clue right now.
No, everything working down. The breaking ball's been really sharp. We knew the slider was, or excuse me, we knew the sinker was really good, but it's the breaking ball that's been fantastic early on in this one.
There's a base hit back up the middle. Third hit of the game for Arkansas. Hey, Friday, it's another game one tonight. Boy, 11 SEC teams are ranked in the national polls entering week 8 of this season. And you and I were talking about what's crazy about where we are in baseball. The ACC and the SEC are the only conferences that have multiple teams in the latest D1 baseball poll.
Yeah, and those two conferences are dominating the top 25. And everybody else has just got a team. I mean, it's pretty wild when you think about the fact that the Big 12 and Pac-12 don't have multiple representatives at this point in the season.
And the Big 12's representative is a newbie in UCF.
Yeah, good point.
Kendall Diggs grounded out his first time, and he looks at a 3-0 strike.
And if you're Kendall Diggs right here, Dave, you're thinking to yourself, okay, I'm getting a sinker kind of down away. Let me get my legs. Let me see if I can get below the baseball, get this thing up into the jet stream. You know what you're getting right here.
Now it's first and second. That is the first walk issued of the game by Riley Maddox. Hadn't walked a whole bunch of folks, just 9 coming into the game, and 33 innings of work. Throwing a couple of freshmen out there. Randall at shortstop, Lyons behind the plate, and that one gets past Trenton Lyons, and the runners will move up to second and third.
Oh, no, that was just weird. That was a really big miss. And he's trying to throw an arm side fastball there, meaning into the right-handed hitter. And this ball is yanked all the way back across his body. Look how far out that is, Dave. And, yeah, you know, maybe Lyons can make that play, but we haven't seen any misses like that from Maddox to this point in the ball game.
Here in the bottom of the 4th inning, 1 out, 2 on for the Hogs. Here's a chopper. The shift is on. They'll give it to Randall. He'll throw to first, but Arkansas does plate a runner. Cut the lead in half. So Ole Miss now up 2-1 as Aloy touches home plate.
Well, and you never know there, Dave. That could have been a double play, maybe, if you don't give up the free base on the pitch before, right? So just a huge missed opportunity as they give away a free base.
Yeah, Luke Hill and Randall both standing on third base side of second. Ground ball to shift again, and they'll get the out. So the Hogs do pick up a run.
And so incredible that he was the first pick of the draft, and unfortunately he's not in the big leagues right now, but certainly could be. But, yeah, I mean, Hagen Smith, really, other than just that first start where he left the game after 1 inning, he's really been, right there with Paul Skeens as far as dominance.
Ethan Leger has struck out, reached on a bunt. We'll start things off. So 3, 4, and 5 due up for the Rebels. Quickly behind 0-2, fouls that one straight back. Yeah, there were a lot of folks in the Pittsburgh area that were a little bummed when they were sending Skeens to AAA and not on the big league roster when they broke spring training. But I have a feeling it won't be long before we see Mr. Skeens. He dominated for the most part in the spring.
Yes, he did, and he went out AAA and dominated. I think he threw, can't remember how many pitches at 100 miles an hour plus, but he actually started here in Louisville, and we were out of town, so we couldn't go see him. But, I don't know what Pittsburgh's going to do. Of course, nobody wants to start these guys' clocks too early, but he will be there soon.
Another strikeout for Hagen Smith. He's up to 9. Well, when he's pitching, you better bring all 27 of those Ks. You just never know.
I mean,
Had 17 earlier this year.
Yeah, and it was against Oregon State, Dave. Like we talked about the Pac-12 only having one ranked team. That's it. It's Oregon State, and Travis Bazzana is one of the best hitters in the country, and is going to be a top 5 pick. And Hagen Smith just mowed through that lineup.
This one looks like in foul territory, and it'll be caught there by Aloy. Nice catch. Deep down the line and left.
Oh, we get to see the flow, which is even, the catch was nice. The flow is better. And, he's got to be – this shows you how hard the wind's blowing, Dave. This ball stayed fair, first of all, and got out there, 275 feet or so. And that is some grande league hair right there by Mr. Aloy.
Nothing gets by you, Berkey. Little two-tone look, and not the same flow from catcher Hudson White, but at 24-3. They have won 20 of their last 21 games. Ole Miss, though, giving them all they want tonight behind the right-hander Riley Maddox, who's kind of a midweek guy and just continued to pitch well and finally earned his spot in this weekend rotation, and now opening up a series at #1 Arkansas tonight on the road.
That's how you earn your spot right there, just dotting two-seamers at the bottom. We've seen this from Eli Jones at South Carolina, A.J. Causey at Tennessee. The return of the sinker baller, Dave.
Fisher. I like it.
I'm in.
Part of a 3-game series in Knoxville. Coverage begins Saturday at noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central Time. Out into shallow right and safe at first. I have a feeling this one might go back to the video center.
Well, this is
close play.
It was. This is the challenge of playing that deep on the shift, right? If you don't come get it, oh wow, he got to the front of the base perfectly. Kevin Sweeney there at first base, right on the call.
The call in the field is going to be overturned to out.
Wow.
Ole Miss still retains 2 challenges.
You were all over that one, Dave. Put that in the scorebook.
That's it. I highlighted that. It's the only highlight I've ever had in 25 years of calling college baseball. It's my only highlight right there.
Well, Luke Hill got away with
out.
it. But he will make a mental note. I might need to come get that one a little bit more next time.
But yet another ground ball from Maddox.
Mm-hmm.
Ty Wilmsmeyer. He looks at strike 2.
9 ground ball outs now from Riley Maddox. And if you count the double play, it's really 10,
Yeah.
right? You get 10 outs on a ground ball.
I guess the key is if you can land that for a strike, just enough to keep him swinging at the plate. There's another ground ball. Scooped up over there by Fisher. And Maddox. Trayson Hughes to lead things off. 6, 7, and 8 due up for the Rebels. Trenton Lyons to follow, and then Judd Udemark. Trayson Hughes has been hit by a pitch and grounded out to first base.
So the most pitches Hagen Smith's thrown this year is 100. Be interesting to see if they let him go past this just to get through 6, depending on how this inning unfolds. But they have not pushed him into the 110, 120 range all year long. That doesn't mean they won't tonight, but we just haven't seen it yet.
That one scoots by. Tracy Hughes
And then
had
where
a
does
tough weekend against
Go ahead.
Kentucky, just
Sorry,
1 of 11
Dave.
at the plate.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Where does Arkansas go? Down 2-1. Do they go to McIntyre? You know, do they go to one of their best bullets out of the bullpen? You know, there he is. Well, I guess that answers the question. Will McIntyre, who has been the guy in this Arkansas bullpen so far this season.
I mean, I think regardless, this will be the last frame for Hagen Smith. It has not been. Remember, Hagen Smith came in with just 10 walks on the season. He has issued 4 walks here tonight, plus a hit batter. And now you get Trenton Lyons, the freshman catcher, making just his second start of his young Ole Miss career. Fouls that one off. Smith with 9 strikeouts. Again, he averages over 18 strikeouts per 9 innings.
Yeah, this is not what we've seen from Hagen. So we've seen this plenty his first 2 years on campus. Not that he wasn't fantastic, but we've seen some outings that looked like this his first couple years, but not so much this year. 4 walks is a season high, and we still seen the dominant swing and miss numbers. It's just the command has not been as sharp as we've seen throughout the course of this season so far.
You know, Lyons has never seen anything like this.
It's
Freshman at
nasty
the
there.
plate. I mean, just looked at 96. Came back with an 80-mile-an-hour pitch. Swung right over the top of it. Boy,
And
Hagen
it's
Smith
interesting, Dave, because there's nothing on his velo chart that's 80. Like, even the changeup is 87.5. The slider's 84. So it's interesting what he pulled the string on there at 80 miles an hour, but it certainly was effective. But he just continues to kind of just misfire a little bit more than we've seen from him.
This will be pitch number 100 on the way for Hagen Smith. Shot foul, 2-2. And for Ole Miss, you've done what you expected to do. You wanted to, you know, you were, if you could get him out in the 6th inning on 100 pitches, call that a victory for the Rebels.
Heck yeah. Well, I mean, think about it. They get a chance to get Hagen Smith out in the 6th and the number 1 bullpen arm into the game, and they're winning. I mean, you couldn't draw it up any better if you're Mike Bianco so far.
Swing and a miss.
Oh, did you see that? Hagen Smith just looked in the dugout and shook his head no. He just shook his head no. And it looks like they're going to stay with him. He looked right at Matt Hobbs and said,
Yeah.
no. Do not come get me.
Matt Hobbs, a pitching coach for Arkansas. Udemark goes up there, fakes the bunt, swings away. And he falls behind 0-1. He's struck out both times, once looking, once swinging. It's 0-2.
That is a well-commanded fastball right there. That one down and away, that's just hard to get the barrel to. That thing just darting down towards the edge of the corner.
Swing and a miss for the 2nd out. And for the 3rd time, Udemark goes down.
That looked like the changeup there. See, just a paint piece here on the fastball down on the outside edge there to get to 2 strikes. And now it looked like he turned over a changeup, Udemark out in front. And just when it looked like Hagen Smith was scuffling to command the baseball. He carves up Utermark to move one out away here as he's reached his season high in pitches.
11 strikeouts, 9 have been swing and misses. And Braden Randall, the 9-hole hitter, steps in. He's one of those 11 strikeouts. Trayson Hughes still over at first base after starting the inning with a walk. Lifted in the air. Playable out there in left. Lovich will make the catch. And so a season high in pitches for Hagen Smith. Maybe not his best performance on the mound, but really nothing to lose. After a tough week, swept by Kentucky where they were just really dominated. It was just a disappointing all the way around for the Rebels last weekend at home. And then they go to Memphis in their midweek game and lose to the Tigers. And come in here and you just wondered what you were going to get. Well, what we got is Riley Maddox, who has been fantastic. How about just 57 pitches for him?
No, I mean, it's been a clinic. Keep the ball down, change speeds, move it around, and the double play ball, of course, can always get you out of a jam, which he's, did right out of the gate in the first after a leadoff hit by this man right here, Peyton Stovall. It's interesting, though. Arkansas is going to play some games like this, Dave. You're talking about a team that's, they're 10th in the league in batting, and they're 8th in the league in runs scored. I'm talking about just in SEC play. Yet they're 8-1. Of course, that just screams how great their pitching is. But, this is an offense that, while has some depth with veteran hitters that can certainly produce, it's not what you would consider one of Dave Van Horn's scariest lineups by any means.
Yeah, it's just off the plate. It'll go to 3-2. Well, Maddox pitched well against Kentucky for 5 and went 5 2/3, the longest outing by a starter last weekend for the Rebels. And there's a walk. So Stovall will start things off as he'll stroll down to first base. And the 2-hole hitter, Ben McLaughlin, comes up.
Big AB right there by a veteran hitter. Team scuffling. You're getting into the latter part of the ball game, top of the lineup. You need your leadoff guy to put together a quality at bat and get on the bases, and Peyton Stovall does just that.
That one misses inside. We talked about some of those pitching woes last weekend. The Rebels walked 20 Wildcat batters last weekend, and 10 of those 20 walks came into. Boy, it looks like Maddox has just kind of lost a feel for it.
Mm-hmm.
'65th pitch on the way, and it's down in the dirt. That's going to stay close enough to keep Stovall over at first base.
Boy, that's surprising. Felt like that ball got far enough away from Lyons for Stovall to advance. You didn't want to take a chance, though, on a 2-0 count with nobody else, I guess. Right now, well, you see he hesitated. And once you hesitate, you got to put the brakes on. Last thing you want to do is get thrown out right there when you don't get a good jump.
And it's 3-0 now. And back-to-back walks.
Ruh-roh. This is where it gets interesting, and now the confident Aloy comes up, who's already barreled up a ball in this ball game his last time up, gets a chance to give this home crowd something to cheer about.
The native Hawaiian, one of 3 in Arkansas baseball history, tied for the team lead this year with 6 home runs. Team leader in RBIs with 26. His first home run in an Arkansas uniform was a grand slam against Central Arkansas. That was shot out to right. It is hammered. It is out of here. Home run. Vahiva Aloy gives Arkansas the lead with a 3-run blast.
Well, now to get the home crowd up on their feet, Dave Neal, that is a loud swing of the bat right there. And those walks, will they kill you or what? Couple walks to start this inning, and you get the Razorback 3-hole hitter who's starting to really feel comfortable with a chance to do some damage. And man, did he. That was a 1-iron. Kind of a big trend in baseball these days, right? The third time through, of course, it's become a hot button issue in Major League Baseball, how so many starters are not allowed to go the third time through. But it is wild. You know, we've had Rob Vaughn, the new coach from Alabama, on a few times this year, and he's said it a few times, like the best time to get starting pitchers, the first inning or the third time through, right? And Riley Maddox, just that third time through, just didn't quite have it for whatever reason.
But it really wasn't like they were hitting him. He walked the first 2 guys on, what, I think it was 9 pitches?
Mm-hmm. Just the command got shaky, and Aloy makes him pay.
Little check swing chopper back up the middle. Fielded there by Randall, and he'll make the play, and that'll be the first out.
Well, Randall's done a nice job, shortstop tonight. He's made a couple Charger plays. We saw the backhand earlier. Certainly looking the part defensively.
Jared Sprague-Lott, a couple of strikeouts, or excuse me, a strikeout and picked up an RBI on a fielder's choice earlier. In a 4-2 ball game. Boy, launches that one deep into the sky. Fair or foul? Fair ball. Home run.
And just like that, the #1 team in America with a 4 spot here in the 6th, and the offense getting it rolling again. Not the most explosive offense Dave Van Horn has ever fielded, but they have figured out ways to win ball games, and the long ball is on the menu here. And this one is Sprague-Lott, just his 3rd home run of the season. Boy, he was sitting on that breaking ball, Dave.
It was high into the Arkansas sky. There's a bunt, and the shift was on. That's going to go for a base knock. Ross Lovich plays it perfectly.
He's just going to do it, isn't he? He's just going to do it. We saw, what did he fake like he was going to do it 4 times his first at bat? Let's watch the homer, though. We see the bunt. Now the homer, see, just sitting on that breaking ball, and you could tell just how on time he was. Look how on time he is. Just gather, let the ball get to you, and that thing hooking right down the left field line. Looked like it hit the foul pole, kind of midway up the foul pole. And that's executing the game plan right there. Mallets throws 65% sliders, and that's what it looks like to go up there and hunt a first pitch breaking ball and trust your scouting report.
You see the first guy in the dugout to hug all the home run hitters, Aloy. And Sprague-Lott was Hagen Smith, because now he's in line for the win if they can hold on.
That's right. And not only is he off the hook, he got a chance to get a dub.
Hudson White fouls that one back. He's behind 0-2. There is Hagen Smith. That one's high into the sky, but shallow center field. Ethan Groff charges, makes the catch, 2 down.
That was the first home run allowed this year on a Josh Mallett's slider. And just a solo variety, not a 2 or 3 run homer, but still, that just shows you how good that breaking ball usually is. I'm sure there's not a whole lot of guys that have gone up there and ambushed a first pitch slider the way that Sprague Lott did.
The first home run overall given up by Mallets this year. Nolan Souza, the designated hitter. A freshman out of Honolulu, Hawaii. Big hole on the left side for a base hit.
Well, he's a whisker away from being 3 for 3, right? He had the hit taken away from him last time after he was deemed to have not beaten out an infield single, but the freshman, the highly touted freshman with a couple knocks. Be interested to follow where he ends up. He was a big-time star prep shortstop. So I'm sure it's a big adjustment getting used to DH in here, as the middle infield right now with Stovall and Aloy is locked up.
Ty Wilmsmeyer, the 9-hole hitter, 0 for 2, couple of ground outs. Wilmsmeyer, 4 years with the Missouri Tiger program. First year here at Arkansas. Pops up the bunt. Nobody's going to be able to catch up to that one. And Dave Van Horn telling us he's waiting on Wilmsmeyer to get that bat going again. He hit over 300 last year with Missouri and starting 54 games. He hit 311 with 7 homers. Led the team in batting average. Was also 21 out of 24 in the stolen base department. Just 1 out of 2 this year with Arkansas.
Yeah, I think it's sometimes we take for granted that the transfer portal is, you're just going to take these numbers and plug them in over here, right? There, especially when you come from conference, you stay in the conference, right? You come from a Southeastern Conference school, but playing at a place like Arkansas is a totally different animal than playing at Missouri.
Swing and a miss. Will McIntyre, the senior out of Bryant, Arkansas, and he has become one of their dudes out of that bullpen. His 14th appearance of the year already, 2-0 record, sub-2 ERA, 41 strikeouts to just 6 walks. Why has he been so effective?
It's the cutter, Dave, and he's going to throw it about 43% of the time, more than any other pitch. He throws the cutter more than the fastball, and it's just a pitch he does a fantastic job of getting it just like that, getting it to the outside edge. And it's not a big break. It's not exactly a dominant, overpowering pitch, much like Kevin Kopps had a few years ago for this team. But he misses barrels and does a fantastic job locating that pitch.
McIntyre's 6th appearance in an SEC game. He's got a 1.5 ERA. Opponents hitting just 132 against him in league play. Here's a little chopper. Aloy charges, throws, and they'll get the first out here in the 7th. Well, Friday, it's another SEC baseball featured game. Number 8, restless with this 2-7 start in league play. And the loss to Southern in their midweek game.
Yeah, that doesn't make the home crowd real happy.
No.
Luke Holman 5 2/3 just gave up 4 in this ball game, or just gave up 3, to get his total to 4, and he's been pulled for Griffin Herring. So LSU fortunately has a big cushion, but Vanderbilt making that one interesting with a couple guys on in the 6th.
And Luke Holman had really been the guy for them on the mound. Matter of fact, he was leading the league in ERA with a 1.38 ERA, a 5-1 record. But that will certainly head north after tonight's performance. Well, you think about where Alabama would be had they kept Luke Holman on their staff. Alabama having a really good season under Rob Vaughn. They tied 22-7 on the year. Alabama at Kentucky. Interesting to see how Alabama plays Kentucky. Of course, the Wildcats are a team that not many people were talking about early on, but you better start paying attention to the Cats right now. 8-1 in league play, leading the East.
Yeah, just doing it again, right? We saw the same thing from them last year, just off to a fantastic start, playing the game in a different style, different brand of ball than we see a lot of teams in this league play, with the stolen base and the inside game and moving the baseball. But, boy, did they go down and light up Swayze Field last weekend. Nick Mingione has that club playing at a very, very high level.
That one is fouled back. We'll do it again.
Andrew Fisher has looked totally locked in this ball game. I mean, he is the energy, the body language. It feels like he's seeing a grapefruit up there by the confidence with which he's swinging the bat.
Now it's full 3-2. Yeah, he's always looking to compress the baseball with his swing.
Yeah. Yes, he is. And, set a Duke freshman record with 11 home runs last year. Comes to Ole Miss and already has 11 this season. Just the one hit tonight. But of course, he hit a rocket for an out his first AB off Smith.
Fouls that one off his foot. And that one misses down low. So a one-out walk to Fisher. Nice at bat for the Duke transfer. His dad was pretty fired up when he decided to transfer to Ole Miss. His dad, Buddy, attended Ole Miss, so he could bust out all his Rebel gear.
That's right. That's right. You have a freshman year like he had at Duke, and he probably could have transferred a lot of places. Well, now, isn't that interesting? Leger is walking into the plate. That's like old Hal Morris style. I'm going to go way throwback. Remember Hal Morris from the Reds way back in the day? Watch where my man Leger is standing in the box. Watch him. Give me that. Watch this. Look where he's starting. And he's walking into it.
How do you feel about that?
I can't. I'm trying to remember last time I saw that between now and Hal Morris. I feel like somebody else has tried that, but this is, Arenado does a deal like this with his feet where he kind of rocks back and forth, but not so much where he's stepping towards the plate with both feet. I'm kind of into it. Like, I'm here for it. I didn't notice that against the left-hander. I feel like this is look how far off he's starting. I mean, he is way off that outside corner.
And so many guys are taught to get up on the plate.
You know what's interesting, though, Dave? Sometimes you start so close to the plate that it can make you want to pull off. He's going the opposite deal, right? Like, I'm going to start way off the plate and then make sure that all my energy is going towards it as the pitch is arriving.
He pops it up in the infield. Caught there by McLaughlin. That'll be the out number 2. Interesting approach.
Yeah, I'm here for it. I'm into individualism as it pertains to guys trying different things. I think in general, it's, you watch a lot of great hitters. Most of them are moving their energy, whether it's their posture, their stride, or both, towards the strike zone, right? Get me closer to home plate, both with my center of gravity, with my spine angle, and with my momentum, so that I can cover the outside corner. Most pitchers, if you can't cover the outside corner, they've got you beat before the bat even starts. But that's a unique way to do it there, where he just literally walking into it.
That one stays up. It's 1-1 on Jackson Ross.
When you see what Will McIntyre wants to do, he wants to throw cutter, especially these right-handed hitters. I mean, that's why you could tell he was a little uncomfortable against Fisher. But you put a righty up there, and he's just going to cut you to death on that outside corner.
Check swing 1-2. What was the pitch the Cops threw? I mean, what that thing that he used to throw up there that nobody could hit?
He called it a cutter, and we called it a gyro. I mean, it was like when it was good, it was unhittable, and even when it was bad, it was unhittable. It either would dart dead left or it would almost hover above the barrel.
Yeah, I just called it that thing. That thing.
Yeah, that unhittable
right,
thing.
Right. Well, they're using McIntyre a little bit like that. McIntyre, a guy that can eat up some innings for you. Matter of fact, he's got the most innings out of the bullpen for Arkansas this year. Check swing fouled off.
Yeah, they'll use him to get an out. They'll use him to throw 4 innings. They'll use him to close the game. He's done a little bit of everything. Again, similar to that Cops role. And one of the big differences, I mean, his stuff isn't quite as electric as Cops' stuff was by any means. But also it's a much deeper, more balanced pitching staff, so they don't have to call on him quite as often as Cops was used that year.
Now it's full 3-2. Chilly night in Fayetteville. Temperatures in the low 50s. We started at 61 degrees. And the inning is over. Got hit by a pitch in his foot and didn't think much of it, but ended up breaking a bone in his foot. Had to sit out a while, but he is good to go now and sitting at the top of this lineup. Has a hit and a walk tonight. And he's behind 0-2.
Well, one of the coach's worst nightmares in the last few days of preseason camp is somebody getting hurt.
High in the air to right. Grayson Hughes, a few steps in, will make the catch, and they'll retire Stovall. Well, Saturday on the SEC Network and the ESPN app at noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, Game 2 of their 3-game series in Knoxville as number 4 Tennessee hosts number 3 Georgia. And then at 2 Eastern time, 1 Central, it's time for some spring football. Auburn's A-Day game at Jordan-Hare Stadium on SEC Network Plus and ESPN Plus.
Already that time?
It is that time.
I guess April is spring game month, isn't it?
You don't think in the, as Steve Spurrier used to say, the talking season in July and August, there'll be a lot of talk about where the Alabama program's going without Nick Saban, do you? You don't think that'll be a hot topic?
Just a little, yeah.
Gee.
There's usually no shortage of storylines in the Southeastern Conference. The talking season, the spring season, any season.
Right. They're all talking seasons.
That's right. That's right. Just tune in Feinbaum. He'll give you all the talking points.
McLaughlin. First baseman hitting in the 2-hole, draws a walk with 1 out. Back-to-back walks for Ben McLaughlin. And now Vahiva Aloy steps in. He hit into a double play in the first inning. Singled in the fourth and then hit the 3-run shot to right his last time up. Now has an 11-game hit streak and has reached base in 17 of his last 18 games.
He's a strong dude now. I mean, that ball he hit his last time up, he hit it and he stopped almost as he was crossing home plate to get out of the batter's box, like he thought it was a line out right to the right fielder. I didn't realize he knew it was a line drive off the player development center in right field. I mean, you talk about having some juice. When you hit a ball at that trajectory and know it's gone oppo, you are a strong dude.
It went 346 feet pretty much on a line. This one is lined. They'll make the out at second. McLaughlin gets back to first, but 2 down.
Boy, he's barreled some balls up tonight.
Now batting for the Razorbacks, number 5, Kendall Diggs.
Kendall Diggs, the right fielder, looking for his first hit. 0 for 2 with a walk. Now 2 for his last 18 at the plate. Popped him up left side. That'll get into the seats.
I tell you, it's got to be really a comforting feeling for Dave Van Horn to think that you got a hitter with the talent of Kendall Diggs. I mean, Diggs was second-team All-SEC player last year, 12 homers, 63 ribbies, led this team in RBIs. And again, it hasn't been a terrible start, but he certainly got a lot more in the tank. But they're off to this incredible start, and he hasn't even gotten rolling yet.
That one misses now 2-2. Diggs usually the DH last year, but due to some injuries, got moved into the field and right field late last season. Swings and misses, and the inning is over, so Jones does his job. McLaughlin's. And the fact that Wyatt Langford is already playing for the Texas Rangers. I'm not saying Charlie Condon's doing that, but when you look at that comparison, Charlie Condon's putting up numbers very similar to Wyatt Langford.
Yeah, no, I think you look at the trajectory of both of their careers where they were, not exactly big-time recruits, and Langford played sparingly, and Condon redshirted both their first years, and then boom, immediately superstars the second they get a chance to get into the everyday lineup. And then somehow Langford, he hit fewer home runs as a junior, but he hit way more extra base hits. And Condon is literally on a record-breaking pace with his slugging percentage. It's not just a home run, but he has a higher slugging percentage at this point in time than Pete Incaviglia did the year he hit 49 homers. So now, again, we got half a season to go and an SEC slate and all those kinds of things, and we know he's on a little 8-at-bat skid. Yeah. So, law of averages says it's going to come down a touch, but he is as polished of a hitter as Langford at this point in time. I mean, when you look at all the different analytics that surround swing decisions and swinging and missing and batted ball profiles, all those kinds of things, Charlie Condon checks all those boxes, and he's 6'6", 215 pounds. I mean, the power is immense.
19 homers, 11 doubles, a triple He's only struck out 17 times. I mean, he's walked 26, struck out 17. So his plate discipline is certainly remarkable as well. And if you miss, he makes you pay.
Well, you and I had the pleasure of calling a doubleheader where we got to see him play 2 games in a row, and he only went 5 for 8 with 3 home runs. And he should have had another double, but he hit a ball so hard the umpire couldn't get out of the way of it, and it went for a single.
That's right.
But, you know, that day told me so much about his pitch recognition, which to me, when you are that talented, that big and strong, your pitch recognition is the separator between a guy that's just up there swinging the bat, hoping to run into the ball, and a guy that has a chance to truly be one of the greats. Because you know pitchers are going to try to change their game plan up against you so consistently that if you can't recognize the baseball early, you're going to swing and miss a ton. And, boy, he seems to have just fantastic pitch recognition.
There is a strike to Trayson Hughes, 1-2 the count. He's having such a great season that you overlook the seasons of like Jack Caglione. We haven't talked about him much this year. He's just been dynamic on the mound and at the plate. And the other one is Braden Montgomery at Texas A&M. 17 home runs for Montgomery, and he's hitting .385.
Yeah, and Gage Miller is right there with all of them. I mean, Gage Miller's second in the league, I believe, in both batting average and OPS. So he's right there with the top guys in the league right now. Was still, again, a huge part of the season left to play. But Gage Miller was not on anybody's radar to be in that conversation to start the year, but yet here he is for Alabama playing at a All-American level.
The other 2 guys that jump out at me are what's going on in Knoxville with Kavares Tears and Blake Burke. I mean, Blake Burke, we've seen him for 3 years now, but, I mean, his average is 400. Dude, he has 16 doubles and 10 home runs.
Yeah, and he leads the league in conference play in batting average in SEC games only, and that is literally a 180 from last year where he really, really struggled against SEC competition.
Boy, there are some stars in this league. And we've talked about it, the smaller draft, the transfer portal, the NIL, all those things combined to keep these guys playing baseball a little bit longer. And certainly the experience when you're playing as 22 and 23-year-olds elevate your game a little bit. Instead of playing minor league ball, you're playing college ball.
Oh, yeah. No, there's a lot of reasons as to why the game is more talented now, especially the Southeastern Conference, the portal, the draft, the development, the investment of these programs into their baseball. But it is crazy right now how many stars there are in this league.
Wilmsmeyer just shot the track, makes the catch. And 2 down.
Another guy who's having a monster year in the league is Corey Collins, who ever since being put in the leadoff spot by Wes Johnson at the University of Georgia has just taken off. And he is right behind Blake Burke in SEC only batting average, but he leads the league in homers. He's got 7 home runs in 8 SEC games.
He had a stretch heading into last weekend where he had 8 home runs over a 5-game period and was hitting .650.
Yes, and note to all you starting pitchers when he's leading off the game, don't just think he's going to give you strike one. Like,
right.
Don't be surprised if you groove old pitch number 1, you might be down 1-0.
Awkward swing there from Trenton Lyons, and he's behind 0-2 to McIntyre. Got him. McIntyre's coming out of the bullpen and retired 6 of the 7 he has. The Richmond transfer, all A-10 second team performer last year. Hit .314 with a team high 13 homers and 43 runs batted in. One of those Guys that certainly had the luxury and the thrill of playing in the Little League World Series with the Mid-Atlantic regional team back in 2014. I can't imagine what that's like to be an 11, 12-year-old kid getting to compete in that event.
Yeah, you're going to have a chance to do what only a few have done, go from Little League World Series, maybe go to College World Series. Certainly Arkansas is going to be one of the top contenders to get to Omaha this year. That'd be a nice little stepping stone in his career to be able to check both of those boxes.
Well, he's going to check that box maybe next time I'll swing. He goes back to the dugout after the home run, gets a little paint piece.
Yeah, he did. Boy, Braden Jones has done a nice job since coming into this ball game. That thing is just dotted on the outside corner. We're gonna get another bunt from Roslovich. Are they respecting the bunt this time?
Yes, they've kept somebody over there in the third base area. Now, they do have the shift on. They have moved the shortstop, Randall, over to the second base side, but this time they're keeping the third baseman, Fisher, closer to the bag. What is it? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Yeah, well, I mean, he wasn't exactly fooling them. He showed it to him like 6 times.
Good point, right.
And I give him credit, man. Like, okay, and I kind of like both sides of it. Like, Bianco's like, we're not moving until you prove to us you can actually get it down. And he's like, I'm going to keep trying until you move somebody. But now with 2 strikes, they go back to the traditional shift, vacate the third base position.
There's a little chopper right at the shift. Braden Randall over to first. That'll be out number.
Braden Jones got good stuff tonight. That ball getting out of his hand, 94, 95 miles an hour. Landed the breaking ball.
To the right side. Bobbled. And Udemark able to get a glove on it and step on the bag. And that'll get us the win to Hagen Smith, who looks to go to 6-0 on the year. So Will Furnace grabbing a bat. He will pinch hit for Judd Udemark. Furnace hitting just .235 this year. He's a guy I think that they expected some more out of at the plate, and still plenty of time to get there. But .235 for a guy that's got just a sweet, sweet swing, the sophomore. Looks at another strike, 0-2.
Boy, I don't blame him there. That ball looked down. Will McIntyre gets the benefit of the doubt on a big curveball at the bottom of the zone.
I think Will was just talking to our home plate umpire, Danny Cricks, about that same decision. Over to first, underhand toss to McIntyre, and that'll be the first out of the inning. Well, that puts you in a bad spot on a call like that. 0-2, you got to be protective, and Will not able to get the swing off he was looking for. Don't forget, tomorrow, Game 2 of the Vanderbilt LSU series coming your way right here on the SEC Network. LSU trying to hang on tonight. Got off to a big lead, but Vanderbilt was knocking on the door, having some opportunities late in that one. LSU
9-6, bottom 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
2-7 for the Tigers to start SEC play.
Yeah, there is I guarantee you there is a level of desperation in that building right now, as they're just trying to get off to a good start here in this series, because it's Vandy at home and then on the road at Tennessee. And we all know. I mean, you have to hold serve at home in this league. You can't lose home series, right? And they already lost one of them to Florida. And so this is a huge game one for them against Vanderbilt, who's kind of had an up and down conference slate themselves here to start the first 3 weeks of this conference season. Two sweeps and a get swept.
That one's fouled back out of play. It's going to be a tough night for Ole Miss tonight because they didn't play really poorly. A couple of bad pitches from Riley Maddox, who was really good for 5 innings, got to the sixth, walked the first 2 guys of the inning, then gave up the 3-run homer, just completely lost it in the 6th inning, but until then was pitching extremely well. They'd gone to the bullpen, got what they wanted there. And look, you had a 2-0 lead on the best pitcher in arguably the best pitcher in college baseball in Hagen Smith.
Yeah, I mean, when he walked off the field for the last time, you were winning 2-1. And then, unfortunately, it all went sideways for Riley Maddox. But, yeah, there's, again, you know, we talked to Mike Bianco about it. McIntyre now just 1 out away. They've got – McIntyre's going to throw 50-plus pitches, right? So – it's not all lost, even if they can't come back here down to their final out.
"14 strikeouts by Hagen Smith and Will McIntyre tonight. 11 by Hagen Smith. The 6th game this year for Hagen Smith where he's pitched 6 or more innings and had 10 or more strikeouts. To the right side, Stovall gloves, throws it in the dugout. Nice job by Hudson White to get over there right in front.
Yes, this was a fantastic hustle play by Hudson White, up and out of his crouch to get there. Stovall just didn't get the grip, right? Yep.
Stone Hewlett, though, the senior, takes over, making his 12th appearance. Another ERA of under 2. Just 6 innings of work, but 14 strikeouts and just 1 walk. He needs 1 out. And he starts things off with a strike to Luke Hill. Or excuse me, Andrew Fisher. Luke Hill's over at first base. One and 2 the count.
And now you got to dig your heels in here and be ready for that slider away. Nice take right there. You could tell Fisher just got to the end of his rope before he was able to put the brakes on. Hewlett going to probably keep throwing those sliders on the outside edge here.
Swing and a miss, and this one's in the books. Hewlett comes in for 1 batter and gets the strikeout. The 15th Rebel to go down.
Yeah, welcome to the streets where the hustle never sleeps. Concrete jungle where every corner's got secrets to keep. From the neon lights to the graffiti on the wall, this is the life we live, where we stand tall in the heart of the city where dreams collide. We navigate the alleys with swagger and pride, from the buskers on the corner to the vendors in the stalls. This is the rhythm of the streets where the wild calls. Street life where the beats never stop, from dusk till dawn. We're on top in the chaos and the noise. We find our groove. This is the street life. This is how we move. From the skaters on the sidewalk to the b-boys in the square, this is where we come alive, where we show we care. With every step we take, we leave our mark in the tapestry of the streets where we embark. From the stoop conversations to the midnight races, this is the life we live in all its different faces. In the rhythm of the streets, we find our flow. This is the street life where we let it all go. Street life where the beats never stop, from dusk till dawn. We're on top in the chaos and the noise. We find our groove. This is the street life. This is how we move. So here's to the streets where we call home, in the hustle and bustle. We never alone, for in the heartbeat of the city we find our soul. This is the street life, let the story be told. Yeah, in the streets we roam, where the stories unfold. This is the life we live, where we're brave and bold. So let's keep moving forward in this urban groove. This is the